So today we're talking about this little monitor by Fotka that is really going to help you solve a lot of the frustrations that you might have when you're making videos. So as a filmmaker or cinematographer or camera operator, one of your biggest priorities is to make sure that the footage that you're shooting looks good. And sometimes when you're just relying on the little LCD screen on the back of your camera, it can let you down. Which brings me to this monitor. This is a new monitor by Fotka, and if you kind of recognize that name, you may have known Fotka from their inexpensive variable ND filters, but now they're getting into the monitor game. And before we go any further, I was sent this monitor by Fotka, but I'm not required to say anything nice about it. This isn't a paid review, and it's going to be my honest and unbiased opinion. So the absolute worst thing that happens to me whenever I go out and shoot a bunch of B-roll shots, or maybe I'm shooting something that's a little more serious, like a paid gig where I'm doing a long interview, the worst thing that happens is when I come back to edit my footage and I realize that I was either overexposed or I was slightly out of focus or my framing was just off. And that's where having a monitor like this is really going to help you out. So this is the Fotka A50T, and this is one of a few different monitors that Fotka has in the A50 line. And each of them have different features. Some have more, some have less. The ones with less features cost less. So this one is just one up from their baseline model. And this is the A50T, which stands for touchscreen. And they have a TL, which is touchscreen and LUTs. And then they have a TLS, which is touchscreen, LUTs, and SDI. Inside this monitor, you're going to find all of the professional features that you would want in an on-camera monitor. You're going to find focus peaking, zebras, false color, and even anamorphic de-squeezing or crop overlays, all of the kind of stuff that you would expect from a professional grade monitor. As far as brightness goes, this doesn't get insanely bright, but it's definitely bright enough for most situations. If you are in a really sunny situation, it does come with this little LCD hood, which is okay. It does feel a little plasticky, but it does the job. One thing I like is that this monitor also obviously allows you to flip it vertically if you need to, mount it upside down. So this LCD hood can actually be flipped and put upside down as well, which is a nice feature. So this monitor has a few different mounting options. It has 2 1/4-20s and 1 3/8 on each side of the monitor, and then a 3/8 tap on the bottom with a 1/4-20 to 3/8 inch adapter. And what's also kind of cool is that it has these little rigid rosette things here. So with the included monitor mount, it actually, once you tighten it down, it won't shift around because it's being held in by that rosette system. So like I said, this is a touchscreen model, so you can do everything that you need to do just by touching on the screen. It has a scroll wheel here, which gets you into the menus, and then you can just use your finger to, tap and do whatever functions you need it to do. In the A50 baseline model, you have to control all the functions with the buttons up here, which you can still do if you don't want to be touching your screen, but I found that it's really easy and intuitive to change settings on the fly using the touchscreen. I didn't think that I would like the touchscreen feature because of the fingerprint issue, but honestly, I just wipe it off with my shirt and it's really not that big of an annoyance. As far as powering and connections, this monitor accepts 2 Sony MPF style batteries, but you don't need to power it on. You can just have one and add another one for longer runtime. And what's also nice is you can hot swap them as well. You have DC in, headphone out, battery out, and HDMI in, USB, I believe that's for the firmware updates, and then HDMI out if you need to do a pass through to a different monitor. As far as resolution, this is a 1920 by 1080 display, and it is so crispy. It is so much better than looking at the back of my GH3's LCD. Granted, my GH3 is pretty old now and camera LCD screens have gotten a lot better, but still I much prefer looking at a proper monitor like this as opposed to the LCD screen on the back of a camera. My main uses for a monitor like this is mostly to be used on a gimbal, because that gives me the option to be able to view what I'm shooting without having to be at eye level with my LCD screen. So I like using this with a gimbal, but I also just put it directly onto my camera and use it as a way to help frame, expose, and focus my image better. When it comes to latency, it's really not that bad, but honestly, latency has never really been a big issue for me. So this monitor will run you about $170, $180. The baseline model that doesn't have the touchscreen is about $150, and then it gets more and more expensive as you go to the higher end models with more features. But all in all, I really like this monitor. I like that you can put 2 Sony MPF style batteries on it, and that it has all the features that I would expect from a professional on-camera monitor. I'm gonna have links in the description that you can click on if you want to check out this monitor. I also created a little playlist of some other gear that I've reviewed. You can click on that right over here. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Later.